here we are with the second part, the conclusion of that kilt that customer had brought me. His father's kilt, he needed it altered because he'd really like to have his dad see him wearing his altered kilt. Very tight timeline, and a couple of problems that I found with the pleats was that they'd been sewn, when machine sewn, doesn't matter, but without any real taper, and I couldn't accommodate the changes just by altering the aprons. As it is, I rubbed a pleat on either side to give myself more cloth to play with. Although he's quite a bit smaller than his dad, this didn't have very good apron pleats, so now it's got properly deep apron pleats. Problem was, when I opened the kilt up, I found that the buttonhole wasn't salvageable. They had cut so close to the seam line that there was nothing I could build on. So panic concentrates the mind wonderfully. So what I've done is an idea that I've seen elsewhere. I might have seen it in a book. I think I played with this idea a few years ago, in that instead of a buttonhole and a buckle here, we just reverse the template, as it were, and put the buckle on the inner apron where the strap usually is. And when he comes to be fitted, I'll mark with chalk and then sew the strap about where the buttonhole would have been. I recall seeing this in the past. I have a feeling, because it's going to have to be sewn through and through, I'll be as neat as I can, but there will be we'll see visible stitches on the outside, because to do this properly I have to sew it all the way through. And I rather think that there's going to be a bit of a dimple there when he's wearing the kilt. It remains to be seen, because we discussed it back and forth. Initially we were I was trying to sell him on the idea of the old way of kilts, the old-fashioned kilt fastening before the advent of the buttonhole, which came out, I believe, in the late 1920s, early 1930s. But I never saw that until the mid-80s in the Canadian Army with kilts sent to us from Scotland. So the old kilts just had a buckle or two on one side, and you sucked in, wrapped it, and did it up. Some people call it hold and fold. He wasn't really comfortable with that idea, so this was option B. So we're going to see if it works, because again, even though he's finished and he walks out the door, that doesn't mean the transaction or the relationship is done. He's going to wear it this week on his trip back east, and if this turns out to be a work in progress, so be it. I also did something else, because sorry, backing up a bit before I turn the kilt over, you'll see that the seams are a bit, and the cloth is a bit sort of a crescent here. And I believe that's the result of, because remember, this kilt had no canvas whatsoever. So it was just this rather light cloth. This is rather lighter than my normal kilt cloth. It's less than 16. It's not as light as 11, but it's less than 16. And I believe this curving is the result of tension on the seams and on the cloth without the canvas to stabilize it. One thing that I sort of came up with, some new invention, as you can see, I've sort of done sort of an origami kind of fold here. Usually it's a symmetric, rather like the same profile as the fish when we cut out in the back, but in the front it's a bit origami in order to get it to drop down so it's not visible from the outside. I'd like to claim that was a clever invention of mine, but what it was, I wasn't completely paying attention when I was ironing this in a hurry yesterday, and that's the way it ironed, and I went, hang on, I may be onto something here. So I sewed it that way. I've accidentally discovered something new. So there we go. I was grousing about these doubled pleats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The fact that they occur at a symmetric distance apart, I think what happened there, and I didn't look at it too hard, because the reason why it happened is, you can see this set is actually very large. It isn't from there to there, it's there to there. You see that detail. So when they were sewing across here, they were, instead of, what's that, 12 inches here, I have a device that can't handle, he lets me know. 11.5 inches, not bad. Rather than have immensely deep pleats, they were having the pleat, which is something that I have read about, but I've never attempted myself. And what they've done is they'd half, and then because this doesn't match that, they were taking perhaps this detail. I don't want to see how they did it, because what I want to do is, I'm going to take pictures of this. What I want to do is, I'm going to try to attempt to half a pleat, but I don't want to see how they did it. I want to see if I wind up doing it the same way. I'm not going to criticize them for doing something that I don't know how to do before I discover if there's a way to do it better or not. But there we go. So I've sent him his email. His kilt is ready to wear, and you know, I think it just might be beer o'clock now, and I'll get back to working on kilts tomorrow. Thank you for your patience.